new year from the Fundraising School. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. This is the first day from the Fundraising School, and we're looking ahead now to 2025. And what does this new year have in store for us as fundraisers? First of all, we enter the year with significant momentum. Of course, the Giving USA data that came out in the middle of 2024, overall, a net positive in terms of the report. In fact, it was the most money donated in current dollars, the value of the dollar, the year the dollar is donated, the most ever in history. Now, there was some noise in the data because of inflation, but as we've said often, if you're taking inflation into account when you're setting your nonprofit's budget, and then your fundraising goals are based on that budget, and you're hitting your goals, then you're more than ever accounting for inflation. So not a problem. So a lot of momentum in that report. And then, of course, 2024, the year ended with the S&P 500 stock market in positive territory. Now, we know that the main reason that donors give is associated with their philanthropic values and their philanthropic motivations, and how those values and motivations are connected to the mission and the programs and the impact of your nonprofit. But that's the why people give. The how much they give and when is often determined by the economy, their personal finances, but also what's happening in the larger economy. And our school's research shows that when the S&P 500 ends in positive territory for the calendar year, as it did in 2024, then the next year, there's a positive trend for charitable giving. So that's great news heading into 2025. Now, if you're a frequent listener to this podcast or viewer of this podcast, you know that a consistent theme has been trying to allay the concerns about these data about household giving, especially in the United States. I mean, this big headline comes out that only 50% of households are donating. And again, just want to reemphasize what that is not saying. That is not saying that 100% of households were asked and 50% said no, right? What that means is 50% donated in that given year. Maybe they gave the previous year, but not this particular year. Maybe they gave this year and they won't give next year. It relates to annual giving in that particular year. And we just want to keep in front of you some other data points. The general generosity survey showed that 61% of households donate. Gallup says it's 81%. The general social survey says it's 88%. It's because it's different questions asked to different people in different times of year in different ways. And we just want to make sure that you know that there is significant possibility out there to fundraise, to continue to have that widespread, robust annual fund, continuing to invite new donors, and then looking for those opportunities to move people to mid-level or major level giving within your nonprofit organization. And, 2024 included that report from the Generosity Commission that reminded us as fundraisers to make sure we're inviting all people at all income levels, giving them that opportunity to donate to our respective nonprofit organizations. If that household data statistic is at 50% for this particular year, let the reason not be because we did not ask the other 50% because they are lower or moderate income in their households. And so again, a lot of momentum, a lot of possibility, including from millennials. One of the big data points that came out in the recent year was that millennials, when you look at the four generations, you look at boomers, kind of the grandparents, right? You look at Gen X, the parents, you look at millennials, and then Gen Z. Millennials now rank second in the amount of dollars donated per year per household. Boomers still number one, but millennials have leapfrogged their parents, those in Gen X. And so more and more opportunity now. The millennials, they're 35, they're 37, they're 40, they're 42 years old. They're settling down, they're forming households, getting married, partnering up, bringing kids into the household. And all these can be predictors of charitable giving. And in fact, the data are now showing that. So your strategies need to be relevant for the millennial generation. And in fact, as we look ahead to 2025, that's going to be a new course that we're going to create for the Fundraising School, a pop-up course, a 3-hour virtual course to make sure that we're understanding how we need to kind of massage and update and revise our fundraising techniques specifically for the millennial generation. Now, one of the things we know that millennials are doing also is more and more impact investing. They've prospered at a relatively earlier age, and they're bringing kind of that entrepreneurial innovation spirit into their philanthropy. So another development in 2025 from the Fundraising School, we're going to pilot test a course with our partners from KindCap on impact investing. So after we pilot test that course in the first half of the year, hopefully by the second half of the year or early 2026, we will have a new public course on impact investing. And of course, even as we've had this podcast here in these last few minutes, we've had rapid changes in artificial intelligence, right? These AI changes continue to happen so quickly. One of my favorite podcasts, and I enjoyed all of them, but one of my favorites in 2024 was with Travis Tester, who talked about how AI is helping him with his nonprofit to be able to do a lot of the rote, mechanical, kind of everyday things, the tasks that need to be done. And it's freeing up more time to spend with donors. In fact, Travis told us he can have 2 to 4 more donor meetings a week because of the time he's saving using AI for some of those other functional tasks and activities. Think about that. That's 100 to 200 more meetings a year, face-to-face with donors, the type of thing AI is not going to be able to do, meet face-to-face with your donors, because of how he's using AI. We have our AI and fundraising course, and that's a now staple in our offerings at the Fundraising School, and we're going to expand that over time. In 2025, keep an eye, listen to this podcast and other communications from our school. We're only going to be expanding our curriculum on that topic. Now, the question we get all the time is there going to be an economic recession? And of course, the answer is always the same, yes. Because in a market economy, there's at least one every decade. So the question isn't if there's going to be a recession. It is really when is there going to be a recession? And that's the one we don't know, right? We just don't know. But the answer is the best time to fundraise for a recession is now, before the recession happens. And so make sure you're stewarding your relationships with your donors, because during an economic downturn, donors tend to stay with the nonprofits with which they have the strongest relationships. Now, stewardship's just the morally right thing to do. Staying in touch with donors, people have given you gifts, stay in touch with them, find ways to be in communication that don't always involve asking them for the next gift. It also has some tangible benefits, like it could lead to the next gift, could lead to higher giving over time, and it also can lead to continued charitable giving even during times of economic downturn. So another new course that we're going to have in 2025 is a course on stewardship, one of those 3-hour virtual pop-up courses. We just have too many donors telling us that fundraisers just don't stay in touch. Had a great opportunity to teach for AFP of Northeast Wisconsin, right alongside Lambeau Field in Green Bay. And they had this couple talk about these folks are major donors to a few different nonprofits, and how they talked about they make the gift and don't hear again from the fundraiser until the time of the next request. Oh, our heart just aches when we hear those stories. And so we're going to make sure we have, time efficient and yet caring and considerate ways to provide stewardship to our donors, because it's the right thing to do and it can encourage continual giving. One last thing to keep an eye on here in the new year is, people keep talking about there's going to be this great wealth transfer. There's going to be this great transfer of wealth, billions and billions of dollars, as the boomer generation passes on, and they're going to be donating that to X and maybe the millennial, maybe to the Z. Well, it's not that the wealth transfer is going to happen. It's happening. One way to think about this out in pop culture is think about when we hear the news. And of course, the end of the year, you see these reminiscing stories of, who famous passed away this year. It could have been a celebrity, a former elected official, a famous athlete from back in the day. And it's time to reminisce at the end of the year. And, I think all of us reach that point in life where you see that in the news and you go, I remember when I was a kid and that person was on TV, or that athlete played for my favorite team. That's just kind of a pop culture way to know that the great wealth transfer is happening. That generation with those billions and billions of dollars is now in that season where they are leaving this world. And so more than ever before, we need to be focused on planned gift fundraising. And we want to make sure you're aware of our new certificate in planned gift management. We had one course that led to the certificate in fundraising management. We now have 3 courses on planned gift management. When you take the first one, which is revised, updated from the course we always had, when you take that course, you can still earn the CFRM. but then take the next two and you earn the certificate in planned gift management. And again, the content has always been great in our planned giving fundraising curriculum, but we've made it, updated it in a way to make the content even more accessible, to kind of make it less dense and spread it out over those three courses with more emphasis on how do I have that conversation with the donor about a planned gift. It can seem awkward because it could involve thinking about when they're going to pass away, and that could be a difficult conversation. What do I listen for that can maybe lead me into that conversation? How can I maybe have a planned gift that's happening now and it doesn't involve them passing away? And understanding that when people make a planned gift, it often leads to higher annual giving while they're still alive. And so these are the types of things now incorporated, thanks to a wonderful grant from the Hibble Foundation, into a planned gift management certificate, the first class of the three, still feeding in to the CFRM. So again, a lot going on at the fundraising school, a lot of momentum, still a lot of challenge. And our goal is to be your career-long colleague every step of the way. You're new to the fundraising profession, come learn those skills. Learn alongside colleagues who've been at it for maybe a little bit longer. Maybe you're at a smaller nonprofit. That's great. Maybe mid-sized, larger nonprofit, any of the 9 subsectors, we're glad to have you. But then new challenges come along and you're ready for that next level of instruction. We want to be with you as a career-long colleague. We have curriculum on leadership that can strengthen your leadership skills because you just got promoted to Chief Development Officer. Congratulations. Or you endeavor to be the CEO someday. All of that is here for you at the fundraising school with our public courses, now 25 in total, leading to 5 certificates. We can also customize and bring training right to your nonprofit, your association, your region. Either those public courses can come straight to you, or what we can also do is take a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, a little bit of this one over here, and knit them together in a tailor-made way just for your fundraising training needs. We have quarterly webinars. The schedule for 2025 starts with stewardship and also on what donors think about artificial intelligence. We have these weekly podcasts, both audio and video versions. And of course, all of our knowledge gathered in our textbook, Achieving Excellence in Fundraising, the book now out in its 5th edition. Where do I find this information? Really simple. On the web at go.iu.edu/TFRS for the fundraising school. go.iu.edu/TFRS. I'm so grateful for my colleagues at the fundraising school who serve alongside each other in so many great ways, having a wonderful impact. Jennifer Boffman, frequent producer of this podcast, today's produced by my colleague, Molly Gross. And of course, the mainstay through it all is the Emmy Award-winning producer, Mike Anthony. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. Happy New Year. Now you are now more fully informed on this first day from the fundraising school.